guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today's another, just kind of a discussion video. Again, I was watching a fellow YouTuber, RGT85's video, and he was talking about, selling off his stuff, selling off his collection. Not everything, just parts of it. Things that had no sentimental or nostalgia to them. And I thought that's kind of an interesting question. When do you get to that point where you start to sell off your collection? Or maybe not sell it off, maybe just stop. Maybe just, you feel contempt, you feel like you have enough. Now, for me, collecting video games was not really a thing to me. I never looked at it like I was collecting video games. It was never I need to have a big shelf, I need to have a wall full of video games, it needs to look great. That was never my intention, still really isn't. I bought a lot of these games because I wanted to play them. That's really what the reason was. I started buying during the 90s, especially when just around the time when Nintendo and Super Nintendo were the two go-to video game systems to play. And Atari kind of made its little comeback with the Atari Junior, and we started seeing things like the Atari games back on the shelves. But at that time, a lot of the old games were just starting to end up in thrift shops, wherever, antique stores, people's garage sales. And I was buying them because I wanted to play them. I wanted to play these Atari games. I wanted to collect these Intellivision games that I had as a kid, and I enjoyed them when I was a kid, and I wanted to relive that experience. So I was buying Intellivision stuff. Once I got my Intellivision, I had to get another one because the childhood one I had when I was a kid, it kind of stopped working, and I ended up getting rid of it. But, anyways, there was also the ColecoVision, which was a system I always wanted as a kid because I knew people that had one, and I was always fascinated by it, but I just never had it. And so I went on a quest to get myself a ColecoVision. And, I had to go into stores, gaming stores, actual just gaming video game stores at the time where Nintendo was the big thing. And they'd be like, hey, do you have anything, know anybody that has a ColecoVision? And I ended up downtown Toronto. I actually found a store where this guy, he's like, oh, I have a ColecoVision, my own. The one I had when I was a kid. It's in my house. I'll sell it to you. And so he ended up selling it to me with a couple of games for, I don't know, it was less than $40. It wasn't a lot. At that time, he probably was like, who cares about the ColecoVision? Who cares about this stuff? And I remember buying games, and I remember I got this huge lot of games, boxed, really good boxed games, and it was in a thrift shop. I think it was a bidding thing, where they put it behind a nice showcase, and then you bid on it. And I think I was the only one that bid on it, because at the time, who cared about ColecoVision games? It was that time. Again, everybody wanted Nintendo, Super Nintendo. Nobody wanted ColecoVision. Well, a select few did, but I did, but a lot of people didn't care. And I bought it because I wanted to play it. I wanted to play ColecoVision games. I always wanted one when I was a kid. I didn't have one. I had the Intellivision, which is fine. I'm not complaining, but, it's just something I always wanted. So I tracked one down, and I got it. And then, and I've said this story before, I had a whole collection of nice boxed games. Beautiful. And when I moved from one house to another, that box disappeared. I don't know what the heck happened to it. I know some stuff fell off the back of the pickup truck, some of my Intellivision games anyways, and I had to pull over on the highway and pick them up. So maybe the whole box flew out. I don't know. But it's gone. But my point is that I wasn't buying them to collect them. I wasn't buying them to put them on a shelf to make them look pretty. I was buying them because I wanted to play them. And so I only really bought stuff that I wanted. And it was the same thing with Transformers. I played Transformers when I was a kid. I loved them. And again, during a transitional stage in my life, moving from one home to another, a lot of my old toys disappeared. And so I got to a point where I'm like, I want to rebuy these toys. And I started to pick them up. I was going all over the place. I ended up having my Galvatron back there for $90 in a toy store or a comic store that had this little selection that they were selling. I was going to flea markets. I ended up getting to a point where I had a box. This box actually, this here, an old VHS tower box that I've held on to forever. And I just started putting all my Transformers in there, there's Ultra Magnus. This was a reissue that came out a long time ago. This isn't from the original lineup. But, you know, and what happened was I just started to realize I'm putting all these things in boxes. I'm buying Transformers and I'm putting them in boxes. And then I'm putting them away. And so I had a little selection over, you know, eventually for my man cave setup. But prior to that, all the stuff I was buying was literally just coming home and going into boxes. And same thing was happening with video games. I was buying them. I was going to the, again, you know, go to flea markets. I'd go to the thrift shops, and if I found in television games or whatever, and then I got hooked on the eBays, you know, the going on the internets and buying the stuff there. You know, it's like buying lots of, you know, a lot of in television games. And I was like, even if just one game in there that I wanted, I'd buy the whole lot just so I can get that one game. And I started to realize, like, this stuff is just piling up. Like, I got these Transformer toys that I'm paying a lot of money for. I got these video games. I got a lot of money. And I'm just putting it into this stuff. And I'm literally going home and shoving it into boxes. And if I think about it, even behind me, or over there, behind you, there's like, I don't know, 5 or 6 boxes I have just full of stuff. And it's just been sitting there. And I don't get to see it because where am I going to put it? You know, I got my man cave here. I got a lot of stuff in here. Right now you can only see that. But there is stuff over there. I got shelves over there. I've done man cave videos before where I've done the whole 360 of the man cave so you can see everything. Maybe I could do another one again at some point. But anyways, they're on my channel somewhere. And you know, I realized that this is, you know, this is enough for me. It's enough I could look at it and, you know, see the nostalgia of it. Like, these are all great Atari games behind me, but I got to a point where I'm like, you know, I could also just play them on emulator. I don't need to pull the cartridge out. Even for my Intellivision, I have the LTO flash card now. I don't remember a time where I actually plugged in a real Intellivision game in there since I bought that LTO flash card, because it has every single Intellivision game on it. So, you know, right now they're just shelf candy. And so it makes you wonder, like, what are you going to keep? What are you going to get rid of? And this is kind of what RGT85 was talking about. You know, I got a few things that I probably will keep forever, like this Donkey Kong for the Intellivision, because it meant something to me when I was a kid. You know, this was a special game for me. You know, it's not the greatest game in the world. Everybody knows that. It's probably one of the worst Donkey Kongs. If it's not, you know, the worst, it's maybe second or third. But I don't know, there's a nostalgia to it, and I just love it. And some of my Nintendo stuff, you know, like I got my Legend of Zelda box. Like, I bought this brand new off the shelf. It's a little bit of wear and tear to it. You can see that the tag kind of ripped off there. It's just an empty box, but I'm still holding on to it because, you know, Zelda was a great game when I first got it. Well, it still is a great game. And I just really wanted to, you know, I'm not going to get rid of the box. And the other one was Super Mario 3. Like, this is the box, the original box that I bought the game. And you know, oftentimes I didn't really keep too much of boxes and manuals and stuff. But this one I had to keep it because, well, it was a special game. I mean, when this came out, everybody wanted it. You know, the Wizard movie came out. We saw it in theater. We were dying for this game to come out. And even when it came out, I couldn't afford it at the time. I was renting it just so I could play it. So, you know, there's a nostalgia. There's a story there. And so I'm probably not going to get rid of that, you know, my games. But I don't really, you know, I don't really look at these as an investment. But I know a lot of people do. And there's a lot of, you know, collectors out there who just, they have to have everything pristine. They have to have these expensive games. And at what point do you say, okay, you know what, I think I have enough. I think that I've just been collecting too much. Or maybe not. Maybe it's good to just keep doing that. I mean, there's got to be a fine line between being a collector and being a hoarder at this point, right? And I guess another thing is, too, depending on where you are in your life, what if you need money? And I've seen videos like this before where, you know, people say, oh, these YouTubers or whoever is going on there crying in front of the camera that, you know, big expenses come up and they don't have any money and they're asking for money, or they have a GoFundMe page or something like that. And then behind them, there's an entire wall of games that are probably worth thousands of dollars. And people will leave comments like, sell your games, man. You got tons of games. What are you doing? You know, priorities in life. I don't, you know, for me, I don't think there's much value in a lot of the stuff I have. I think a lot of that is like common stuff. I don't think any of this stuff would really sell for a lot. I never really got into that expensive collecting thing. I collected mainly because I wanted to play the games. So that's the question, and that's kind of like, it's an interesting topic, and I thought I'd throw it up there. You know, like with the Transformers thing, I stopped buying them. I just stopped. I'm like, okay, I got all these Transformers now. I got a lot of the ones I wanted when I was a kid. I got my nostalgia. Stop. You know, stop going to the stores. You know, I've been to a few stores where I've seen them for sale, and I'm like, yes, that looks awesome. And then I'm like, no. Even some of the reissues, like some of the reissues that have come out, some of them look really good, and I'm like, do I want to spend $60 on a toy I'm just going to bring home and shove in a box? Maybe not. Anyways, let me know what you think. I always like to keep the conversation going. Throw some comments down below. Let me know. Do you collect? Do you want to keep collecting? Is there a point where you just got to let it go? Or maybe it's when your wife tells you to. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.